Welcome back to Boca Raton. In this video, we're going to be discussing why thousands of people every single year decide to pick up their stuff, sell their house, and get out of Boca Raton. So stick around. We're going to be talking about places they're moving to, but also who's even moving back in here to replace them. And we're going to be talking about the top 5 reasons people are deciding to pick up their stuff and get on out of here. Starting for number 1, you'll quickly see that most people are deciding to pick up their stuff, but they move in the state of Florida. As I discussed in previous videos, people in South Florida are getting priced out, spoiler alert, or they're being, the areas are changing so much, they're deciding to move out of the neighborhoods. Another spoiler alert. And where they're moving to, they're deciding to stay in Florida because they love it here. They love the weather. They love the vibe of Florida, especially older Florida, and they love the taxes that they save just by living here and not living in New York City. So most people who decide to move out of here, they're staying in Florida. The number 1 city that they're moving to, and the entire state surprised me. So from November of last year to January of this year, over 2,000 people moved to Cape Coral, Florida. And I'm going to tell you exactly why they moved there. If you didn't know, Cape Coral, Florida is an amazing community city for boaters. So people who probably live in this neighborhood, I'm currently in the Golden Triangle area here in Boca Raton, one of my favorite areas for the past few years, but it has rapidly changed, unfortunately, but also for the better. They're deciding that they're going to take their money, their home values they probably bought, 20 years ago. They probably got some of these houses for $90,000, $100,000, $200,000, whatever it was. And now these homes are probably just the land value alone into the millions of dollars. So people are selling their homes here, like the one right behind me, and they're getting replaced with these much larger homes, and they're probably cashing out of their home equity, moving to Cape Coral, Florida, because if you did not know, Cape Coral, Florida has over 400 miles of waterways, making us the number 1 city in the entire world for boating, for access to water, because you got all these canals everywhere. Let's put a Google Maps overview of what the city looks like from above, and you can see all these intercoastal waterways that connect you to the ocean. So even though Cape Coral has a very lame beach, they have very, very great access to waterways and canals. And that's why people here in Boca, they're selling their homes, especially in this area, and they're moving to Cape Coral, Florida for that old Florida feel, but access to water, what they couldn't get here. And it's really changing Boca, but spoiler alert, it's also changing Cape Coral a lot. If you didn't know, you can get a home in Cape Coral on the water for less than $500,000. So you sell your home here probably for $2-3 million, or just this lot maybe for about $2 million. Somebody will come and build a house for $5 million. You take that money, you can buy a nice yacht, live a nice life in Southwest Florida, and it's a very different vibe, but people love it. Number 2 reason why people are leaving the second city is Orlando, and it's a lot of the younger professionals. They want to stay in Florida. They love it here. Orlando offers them a very good city vibe and a place to send their kids for school, and it's more affordable. You got Disney World right there, so things are very fun in Orlando. Sarasota is also on the list of where they're moving to. Again, Sarasota is one of the places I actually considered if I was looking for places to live here in the more southern area of Florida. Sarasota has a very nice art scene. It's a very art type district. It's very clean in certain areas. Again, if you need a real estate agent, if you're considering moving to Sarasota, let me know. I know some really amazing agents in Sarasota, but certain parts of Sarasota are absolutely beautiful, especially Siesta Key. Hands down, my favorite beach in all of Florida. If you're looking for white sand, my favorite beach overall is the one here in Boca called Red Reef Park, but Siesta Key is absolutely beautiful with its white sand. And then further down, you have places like Asheville, North Carolina. I personally just feel like a lot of people here in Boca, probably about 20 years ago in the Golf magazine, it talked about how Asheville is a great mountain city where you can have a second home. Most of the people I talk to here in Boca, for some reason, they do have second homes in Asheville, North Carolina, in the mountains. So people I talk with, they basically just give their kids the house there so they can start fresh, so they have a fresh start up there. And it's not something a big draw for the younger people here moving out of Boca. It's just because there's already a home there. That's most likely why Asheville is on the list. Now, where are people moving from to here? Well, the number 1 place by far, just from November of last year to January this year, over 6,000 people from New York City moved here just to Boca Raton. And you can only imagine the difference, the types of vibes they're bringing, and the area is changing rapidly due to the amount of wealth that's moving from New York City just to Boca Raton. That's not including Miami, West Palm, Palm Beach, any other area. It's just the area of Boca Raton. People are cashing out in New York City and moving here or making this their primary residence. And this is due to something I mentioned in other videos. The changes of taxes and lifestyle going into 2024 is drastically going to change, and more people from New York City are going to be relocating here, especially after the little trial they did with Donald Trump. I really feel like a lot more people, it's a lot more of a push to move down here. A lot of people with wealth are deciding to move down here, or they're deciding that this is the type of environment they want to live in. Now we're going to be talking about the top 5 reasons people by the thousands are moving out of Boca Raton. And number 1, as you probably already guessed, they're being completely priced out of the area. So you have a lot of young professionals, early doctors, so pediatricians, primary care doctors, you have nurse practitioners, lawyers starting out. A lot of young professionals, engineers are now getting completely priced out of Boca, and they're deciding to just move out of the city itself. They're deciding that South Florida has become too expensive and they're deciding to move out. And then you have the older people where things have become so expensive here. They're being priced out of their homes due to issues we're going to talk about next. And they're deciding just to cash out, sell their home to an out-of-state buyer who's just going to tear it down or remodel it and move to places like Cape Coral or a much cheaper city to have a better quality of life in retirement. Those are the top 2 people moving. Most people who are locked in from 5 years ago, I don't see them moving. The professionals who are already locked in, they have their home price, they're not moving. It's the people just starting out and the people in retirement that are deciding to sell their property, or they want a property, so they're moving out of Boca in order to achieve the dream of home ownership. Now, tied into that, number 2, the prices of home insurance, especially in Palm Beach County, here in Boca Raton, and the special assessments. Both of those together completely knocking people out of Boca Raton. So you see a lot of people are like, especially around Highland Beach and on the water with these condos. Right now, just in Boca, there's over 1,000 condos for sale just here. And you want to know why? Well, the reason why 1,000 condos are for sale is because people are getting hit these special assessments of over $70,000 a year for the next 3 years. If you're in retirement on a fixed income, you're not going to be able to afford this price difference. So if you didn't know, if you don't pay your homeowners association or these special assessments, they can evict you. They can actually foreclose on you faster than your mortgage. So these people, instead of losing all the home equity that they got in their property, they're deciding to sell their home now, cash out that equity, get out of Boca while they still can. Or they already own their home and their home insurances went from $2,000 a year to $5,000 to now over $12,000. If your home's older with an older roof, and you got these older windows, you're going to be priced out of your home just because your home insurance. And you're on a fixed income, you weren't planning on these big price increases, and they're planning on even doubling from here. They're just selling and they're moving out. Number 3 reason people are moving out of Boca Raton is that they feel that this city has changed. So imagine you lived in a house like this. This was like what the neighborhood was like about 10 years ago. This nice homes like this, and out of nowhere, your neighborhood's more like this. And the things that you used to like to talk about and do, such as tennis and golf, are now not the main things people like to talk about. So sometimes people now like to talk about their yachts or their Porsche collection or their car collection or their multiple properties, and the entire environment of some of these neighborhoods has drastically changed. So you got people in the older homes, they're cashing out. They're like, this is not the neighborhood I grew up in, where it's like old Florida. Things have drastically changed here in Palm Beach County, especially Boca, due to the great migration that's occurring in our country that people aren't really talking about. Yeah, there's a shortage of homes, but even if you're building these homes, especially in Southwest Florida or Central Florida, that's not where people with wealth want to move. So the great migration has changed everything, and the amount of wealth that's getting concentrated in certain areas of Florida, particularly Boca Raton, is changing entire neighborhoods for the benefit or the downside of however you consider it. Things are changing. Yeah, type of restaurants are changing. So these little mom and pop, dive bars are going to be completely gone. The entire environment itself is going to drastically change due to the new local population that's popping up here. You can't avoid not having change when your entire neighborhood is changing rapidly. Now, number 4 reason is because you want a new home, and thousands of people every year decide, I want to buy a new home. I'm tired of living in an older house with these weird windows that don't keep the bugs out, and I want a brand new home for myself, my own castle. Well, here in Boca, the cheapest, newest home getting built right now, check out my video on Lotus Edge, the cheapest one there, the base model, no upgrades, $1.4 million. And for that reason, if you want a new home, you could be completely priced out and you decide, you know what, you can move to, Palm Beach Gardens. You can get a house there, slightly over $800,000. Meanwhile, you can move to Orlando and buy a brand new house for just $400,000. And for that reason, people by the thousands are moving out of Boca Raton and in South Florida in general because they want a newer house. They're tired of this area especially Boca has been built out since the 60s, 50s, 70s, and 80s. A lot of the houses here are much older. Unless you're buying an older house, tear it down and build in a multi-million-dollar home. It's the only way you're getting a new house here, especially in East Boca. And number 5 is the heat. Let's be honest, Florida, especially during summer, around August, September, gets very, very hot. And it's not just hot during the day. What makes especially South Florida different is that it's hot even at night. And it's not just a regular heat. It's like a very hot, humid heat where you have to keep the AC on all the time. You can't go outside and enjoy nature here in South Florida at night because it's too hot, especially during the summer. And people here, they're so used to all this beautiful landscaping, this architecture that's completely different in the Northeast. They're used to all the palm trees. It doesn't excite them any longer. They're tired of everything being flat. They want to see mountains. That's why a lot of young professionals who are also successful here in Boca, the places they're moving to very commonly is like places like Boulder, Colorado, a nice area, great schools there for kids, where you have a mountain view, stuff like that. Things are completely opposite of here. And a lot of young people actually move to New Jersey and New York City, where people are moving from. They decided to move there because they want something different. Overall, Boca Raton is a beautiful place. It's changing rapidly, yes. I enjoy the area. I feel like Boca is its own little bubble. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else in South Florida right now. I'm very happy to call Boca home. It's a beautiful area. I love living here. A lot of families love living here. If you want to move here or if you want to move out of Boca, here's my contact information for any real estate service that I can provide you and guidance. But I hope you see most of the reasons, the top 2 reasons they want something outside of Boca that Boca doesn't provide, such as mountains or cooler weather, or unfortunately they're completely priced out of the city. Those are the only 2 major reasons why people are leaving. Now, if you like videos like this and you like seeing what Boca Raton or South Florida looks like on foot, you like hearing my opinion, all I ask from you is hit the like button and the subscribe. It definitely supports the videos greatly. And if you want to see more videos like this one, please click here to see more. Take care.